Welcome there guys to this new episode of Germany How It Is. Today I'm talking about infrastructure, which means the roads and the highway or the Autobahn infrastructure, and also the train or the railway infrastructure and the problems and stuff like that. I'm in my car at the moment. I'm in the underground garage of my work and I'm driving home, and by driving home I make the comments and talk with you something about the infrastructure in Germany. So let's enjoy it. What can I say about the infrastructure in Germany? It's bad. You may think the roads in Germany are good and Germany famous for the Autobahn and stuff like that, but it's actually not like that. You have to imagine that most of the roads are very old, about 30, 40, 50 years and stuff like that, and they all need to be or have to be renewed. And the problem is all the districts and the cities and so on, they don't have any money for it, and this leads to, in a lot of cases, to a really bad constitution of the roads. And in this aspect, Germany needs to put a lot of money into infrastructure. From the numbers, from the year 2000 till now, 14 years later, the numbers of traffic increased about 15 to 25% up to the source I get. So a big increase of traffic on German roads and also on the railway tracks, and it will increase more till 2030, but the infrastructure and the roads are not made for it, and there's a lot of problem. You may see the road here. This is a new road. They made it, also built it the last few months, and it was a really pain in the ass to drive there because the whole road was closed and there were only a few lanes left and the traffic was very slow, and if you have to drive it almost every day, it's really hard because the traffic is so slow. You need some extra time to get to your work and to come home, and it's not very good. But now this road is good, but as I mentioned, it was a long construction period and a lot of Autobahn areas need to be renewed, and it goes up to millions, I think almost goes up to billions of euros. They need to renew the streets or the roads, and nobody has the money. The only really good roads are in the new states and the new Bundesländer, so in East Germany, where after the Iron Curtain fall, they put a lot of money in the areas because they thought this area is underdeveloped, and so they had a lot of money they pushed into this area, and now they have those Autobahnen, which means fancy highways, and this is their really new and big and good Autobahns, but there is no traffic and there is no infrastructure, no jobs and no industry in those states, and it's a waste of taxpayers' money, a waste of resources and so on. But in those areas where in the big urban areas where you had a lot of infrastructure, a lot of industry, a lot of traffic, the people or the government don't put the money into the infrastructure as they should be. In Germany there's a change and more people move to a few areas, those urban areas, Munich, Nuremberg, Berlin, Hamburg, stuff like that, and so leaving the rural areas. And there you have a problem. In a lot of rural areas the people leaving, and they don't need as much or as big roads as they had in the past times. But in those areas where the people are moving to, that are growing with population, there you have a lot of traffic jams, you have a lot of problems with the bad infrastructure, and there's a lot of stuff going on. And this is one of the great challenges or problems, as how you see it in Germany for the next few decades, how Germany will handle it. Because as I mentioned, a lot of cities have no money to renew the roads. And I'm a lucky guy in this way. I only need, if it's good, a little bit less than 20 minutes to get to my work. But other people stuck in traffic jams almost every day, and more than 30, 40, 50 minutes, and this is something I really hate. May you think, hey, what you're complaining about in other countries it's even worse, and yes, true, it's worse, the traffic situation. But what we had once in Germany and what we have now in Germany, the people don't go long distances for normally. And it's quite interesting how people will handle, or the society will handle it. The whole infrastructure problem, and also the trains. And what's also into the infrastructure is the grid system in some way. I mentioned it in my energy transformation video. There's also a lot of problems, because also the grid system is very, very old and not used like the railway tracks and the road system. They are not used to the challenges of those days. And often, as you see, you can't drive also not as fast as you may think or you may believe on the Autobahn, because always there's some construction going on. And this is really, really pain in the ass. And nobody knows how to finance all those renewing of the roads. And now you see something really interesting. The daily traffic jam. There's another construction, they're building a bridge, and also the bridge situation is really bad. The numbers I have in my head, I think about 10 to 15% of the bridges, the road bridges, are too old and should renewed or rebuilt immediately, and 50% of the bridges are in a critical state. And I have a friend of mine, he works at the construction of the city of Nuremberg, and he is responsible for the downtown area and for the roads and renew them and stuff like that. And he told me he don't get any more money over years. He always get the same amount of money he has to spend to renew the roads in his district. And we pay on the petrol or on the gas the high taxes, and also discussed how to collect other taxes for the infrastructure. But already they have a lot of money, but they don't, and also a tax on petrol, which was formerly should go direct into the roads and the infrastructure, but it's not like that. I don't know where they're putting the money into. They're putting the money also always in the social welfare system, and that's the biggest post or finance post in Germany, where all the money go in the social welfare system. And then you have situations like this. You see it goes really slow. I'm driving 55 kilometers per hour. Normally you can go this track a little bit faster, but a lot of people are scared. They want to drive on the left lane, but are scared to go away on the lorries and the trucks. And it's really a great challenge, the infrastructure problem in Germany. You may see on the left side the bridge. I try to... There's a big bridge construction. And it will need a few months till it's done, and working there for almost a half a year or 8 months or stuff like that, but already for a really long time. And I can remember one day there was an accident on this track, or on the other side. I'm luckily avoided it, and there was a traffic jam. It was over or longer than 30 kilometers, and the whole area was closed down. People were standing over hours in the heat in the traffic jam. And there you see how critical the infrastructure is. And this is also what I sometimes wonder when you hear about some terrorists or some stuff like that. Why they always try to bomb people. You can hit the grid system or a bridge or a main road, and you cause a lot of more damage and frustration to the people than you ever will do with a suicide bomber or suicide attack. It's just my opinion. If I would be a terrorist, I would attack the grid system, the internet system, important traffic or roads and Autobahn points, because then you create a really big attention. If there's a bomb somewhere in Germany or something like that, the people are, oh, what a bad stuff. But for most people the daily life goes on. But if you blow up a bridge, then you create a lot of attention. Just my opinions. If I would be, I'm not a terrorist, and I'm not planning anything at all, because I'm quite happy with my life. Don't need to cut off heads. Anyway. And when I was younger, this road here, this leads to my town, and this is a really good road, because in my town there's also a lot of traffic, and I think 20 years or something like that ago it was only 1 lane, but this now is also 2 lanes. And when they built all the Autobahns and stuff like that, most of the Autobahns had only 2 lanes, but the traffic is increasing and increasing more and more, and 2 lanes are not enough at high critical points. always traffic jams, and then the old roads and stuff like that. It's a really pain in the ass situation if you rely on the infrastructure because you need to get to your work and home, and then you're stuck always in the traffic jams. And this road is a good road, but if you go a little bit outside, you have a lot of holes in the road and you have to drive really slow. And that's also what they mostly do. If the road or the Autobahn is in a critical state and they don't have the money to renew it, then they just put a sign there, and with the sign they say drive a little bit slower, because put up a sign is a lot cheaper than to rebuild or renew the road. So you guys got some impressions about my daily work track in some way, and some information about the traffic situation and infrastructure situation. And this also counts for the railway system, and as I mentioned, for the grid systems. They're also too old and they're really, really bad. What I can also put into the infrastructure in some way is the internet, but I will do a video about the internet situation in Germany, because the internet situation in Germany is also a case for itself. So I hope you enjoyed this video, get also some impressions from the countryside, and I also hope you hear me. This camera. So anyway guys, hope you liked it. Thumbs up, share the video, comment. Till the next time, bye. So sorry guys, I forgot something, or I didn't forget it. There's something you should see. It's also some construction going on. You see? Construction, construction and construction almost everywhere. It's a really pain in the ass situation.